Good day. Thanks for joining us right here on BERNAMA today with Fabian Narcis and Jessie Chahel, taking you through what is 3rd of July 2018, a brand new day, Tuesday. That's right. How are you feeling today, Fabian?
Today's like a lot better day because earlier on, just before we go on air, I was looking at the video of YB Khairi Jamaluddin passing on the baton to YB Sadiq, the Youth and Sports Ministry, and I thought that it was broadcasted live on Facebook as well. I thought that was a good, kind of thing to do, right?
Yeah, that's
to
right.
inform people that hey, I'm passing over, and they had a small press conference, so that's happening. But the stories that we have for you today will be more interesting than what I've spoken about, because there is a young boy that actually got a thank you letter from the Prime Minister.
That's right. So it's not every day where you really get a heartfelt note from a Malaysian minister, what more a Prime Minister, and that too one who is the oldest in the region. So he's really found time to reach out to this little boy.
Right.
We've seen this a lot, I think, if I can remember correctly, in the US. Previously, many kids had actually received handwritten notes from Obama.
Barack Obama. He
That's
does it
right.
personally.
So anyway, Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad congratulated a boy who had contributed to the Tabung Harapan Fund or the Tabung Harapan Malaysia using savings meant to buy his very own dream drum set.
Right. It's not expensive, 214 ringgit 60 cents the drum set.
But when you're at that age and you can't get what you have been wanting, that's quite
no, he gave
quite a
up
big
for
thing.
something bigger. I think that was what we are trying to say. His name is Irvin Devadasan, saving his pocket money for the last 8 months to donate it all to Tabung Harapan. Thank you very much for doing so. Now, if you want to find out more a little bit about Tabung Harapan and their the balance or the money that's been collected, you can always go to treasury.gov.my, or you can, if you want to donate more, there's a Maybank account number that we just displayed for you where you can actually donate more to the Tabung Harapan.
And the Prime Minister signs off that beautiful letter saying, I see great prospects for your future, Irvin. So, of course, a very nice and heartfelt note and gesture by both parties there. Moving on to the World Cup, it is creating headlines. Last night we saw Brazil take on Mexico 2-0.
Yeah, Brazil won 2-0. It's kind of like a predicted result. But what's more of a shocker is the Belgium-Japan game. Right, Japan was leading 2-0 before Belgium made a great comeback to take it all home 3-2. Right, the goals came very, very late in the game.
Anything can happen at the World
That's
Cup.
right.
So Belgium 3-2. Japan was Asia's only hope, in fact, and that's now
Japan's
gone.
Asia's best team. All right, of all, we've got Korea, we've got Iran, and all those. But Japan is Asia's best team in the World Cup.
So we're moving on now to some news on the go, where we bring you some of the latest updates from in and around the country. 3 more ministers are to be named after being made senators. This, according to Prime Minister. Yesterday we saw the full cabinet sworn in. Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad said today 3 more ministers will be appointed, bringing the total number of cabinet ministers to 29. So right now we have 26.
Right.
Many of them here we see in this footage on screen.
Now, the thing that these people would not be politicians, but would be professionals. So that's what he said. He said they will be sworn in first as senators before being converted to full ministers, and they will have a total of 29 ministers, 3 more to go. And Dr. Mahathir said he will have a meeting with the ministers and deputy ministers who were sworn in yesterday.
That's right. Now, moving on to something else that's been creating headlines, and all for the right reasons, because child marriages does endanger girls' lives. And this, of course, coming after what we have seen, a 41-year-old man getting married to an 11-year-old girl. The Malaysian Medical Association has joined the call to end child marriages in the country, something that's apparently prevalent, because what was reported is what we hear about. Many unreported cases as well, whether it's Muslim or non-Muslim children that's involved, expressing concern over the mental and physical health of young girls who not just end up being married at such a tender age, but end up also being pregnant.
Right, so the risk of being pregnant when younger is the risk of death and disability to the kid and also the woman as well, right? So the latest Malaysian maternal mortality report showed that adolescent deaths from pregnancies tripled from 3.1 per 1,000 living births in 2009 to 8.6. So that's quite a hefty number. So out of 100,000 people, 8.6 lives were gone at birth in 2012.
That's right. Now, moving on to our next interesting piece of news. Jamal Yunus, some people are referring to him as Joker Jamal. He has been on the run, but as they say, you can run, but you cannot hide. And yes, his homecoming is being celebrated. The UMNO Sungai Besar Division Chief Dato Sri Jamal Yusof, who has been on the run from the Malaysian authorities for more than a month now, has been captured by Indonesian authorities. This, of course, according to the Malaysian Home Minister Muhyiddin Yassin. This was announced yesterday.
So he was caught in South Jakarta, and also while he was having his haircut, actually. So that was the joke that was put out in newspapers and also all across the storyboards. If you can see, he was actually captured, a wanted man. And this story also goes to show that if you're a criminal, there's nowhere to run. The law is always on you and behind you all the time.
That's right. The next story now, of course, when I saw this video earlier in the morning, it really upset me, but it also has upset a lot of people out there. This is a video, I don't know if we can roll it, a video of a black-tip shark being kept in an aquarium at a Malaysian restaurant. And of course, this naturally has sparked online anger, with many calling for the animal's release from this confined home of it. Now, you know, this is a small aquarium, as you can see. It's swimming back and forth. Let's take a quick look at this video of the trapped fish. So this 8-second video was posted on Facebook by a diver who in fact went to the restaurant thinking that he was going to enjoy his meal, but he was shocked when he saw that this poor animal was stuck in this little fish tank. It's swimming back and forth, and apparently it's been there for years. So everyone is of course trying to get more support and create more awareness for the release of this animal back into the wild, more so because it's an endangered species.
Oh, okay. All right. Been diving for a while. The endangered species are there, but sometimes having animals kept in an aquarium is not a good thing, definitely. You remember Free Willy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was in the pool, then they released him finally, and then they had more kids and all those kind of things. So we should always, if you like to watch animals, you can try diving, right?
Yeah, but not in a cage, correct. Okay, next story. Fabian, tell us what's happening.
Sports community hopes new minister, deputy minister will help boost the national image. And this is a story about the KBS, of course. This is in hopes that Muar MP Syed Abdul Rahman, as the new youth and sports minister, and Bukit Mertajam MP Stephen Sim, its deputy, will continue to seek excellence for the Ministry of Youth and Sports. National Sports Institute Chief Executive Officer Dr. Khairi Zawi said the ISN was confident that with their appointments to helm KBS, both Syed and Sim possess good academic backgrounds to enable national sports to undergo a paradigm shift.
Okay, moving on to the Human Rights Commission of Malaysia, Suhakam. Now, they have been trying to lobby for this for a long time, the abolition of the death penalty. Now, they hope that the government will not delay in this particular action. Chairperson Razali Ismail said the Commission would let Prime Minister Dr. Mahathir Mohamad decide on the matter without interference from any other party, more so now because Suhakam is an independent body. It doesn't have to report to any other...
If you do drugs, you know the penalty is death.
That's what they say. So they say if we take a poll from the Malaysian people now, a lot of them will agree to get rid of the death penalty. We should get going and do it within this year, is what Suhakam chairperson is saying.
Right.
Okay, moving on to the next piece of news. Moving on into sports. Age is no barrier for Lee Chong Wei to play in the Tokyo Olympics. Of course, yesterday we found out he bagged his 12th medal.
Exactly. So the national singles coach, Miss Bun Sidek, is not surprised with the fact that veteran Dato Lee Chong Wei still wants to go on till 2020 and possibly end the career at Tokyo Olympic Games. The world number 6 will be 38 years old in 2020, but going in his recent results, the shuttler is not giving up and just, going it to make his final hurrah for the Olympics.
That's right. And finally, on this particular block, we
Yeah.
want to bring
Kinda-
you this piece of news. A proposed BERNAMA RTM collaboration will increase productivity. This, of course, according to our CEO right here. They say they are trying to propose a collaboration between RTM and BNC, which for reasons being can step up our productivity in the provision of information for the people, especially on the government agenda aspirations, which of course is one of our main criteria or main jobs.
Right. So they said that BNC over here, channel you're watching, produces great news, while RTM produces great documentaries and programs. So they want to actually split this up and kind of like, you know, you do what you're good at and we do what we're good at, and then come together and produce great content for Malaysians out there.
That's right. So we'll have to wait and see, because a committee has been established or will be established to undertake an in-depth study on this particular proposal. All right, we take a quick breather right now. When we come back, we'll speak to our in-house wellness consultant, the beautiful Dr. Alice Pratima Michael. Today we talk about intravenous nutrition,
Right.
how many of us don't in fact have enough nutrition in our bodies, and what a quick fix can do, or is it more than that?
All right.
So don't go anywhere, we'll be right back. Welcome back to BERNAMA Today. With me today, Dr. Alice Pratima Michael, our wellness consultant. We're talking about injectable nutrients. Now, of course, it's no surprise that many of us perhaps don't have the best diets, what more with our fast-paced lifestyle. And some studies have in fact revealed that more than half of Malaysians are undernourished. That means we are lacking the key nutrients like calcium, zinc, iron, fiber, potassium, vitamin D, vitamin B, just to name a few. Today we talk about injectable nutrients. Is it just a quick fix, or can it be a solution to the problems or rather the problem Malaysian have in this context? Welcome to the studios, Doctor. Welcome back, I should say. Let's talk a little bit about injectable nutrients. Is it just a trendy thing, a fad, or can it really help to replenish the nutrients we don't have?
Oh, it's definitely not a fad. People may think it is because they do not have in-depth knowledge into this field. But nutrition that is being used to even treat disorders is an important part of medical knowledge and medical practice, I think. So we can help not just to replenish people who are malnourished or undernourished, but we can also use nutrition, especially injected nutrition. We use it when we want bigger doses, not just to reduce nutritional defects, but also we want to use it as a modality of treatment that can go together with other medical treatments, or it can even replace some medications if the medications were to cause some unwanted side effects.
That's right. So it is a rather efficient process, a rather fast process as well.
Yes, but I think as in everything that we talk about a lot of times, diagnosis is so important because we know people who need injectable nutrition, either they are suffering from chronic degenerative diseases that at the moment do not have very good medical control, or it can be for people who are in special needs, like people with poor body image, people who are obese, people who have, due to poor conditions, they're malnourished, or they have these beliefs that to be well, they should not eat any oil, so they should not eat any protein, or they should not eat any carbohydrates. Or so when they do strict dieting, of course, sometimes they are not getting the correct nutrition and their body is depleted. So the way oral nutrition is absorbed can take quite some time, and sometimes many people nowadays also have problems with their absorption at the stomach level and at the small intestines, where most of the absorption takes place. So this could be due to some parasitic infections, it could be due to low-grade infections or inflammations going on in the stomach. It could be due to gastritis. Gastritis is being treated by proton pump inhibitors, which can reduce acidity and actually cause more problem with absorption and digestion. So it could be due to many reasons where we do want to reliably give higher doses of vitamins into the body so that we can cure and correct the problems.
Right, you spoke about the PPI. Perhaps you could explain to us the process with injectable nutrients and how the body really absorbs it, because it is a biochemical process.
Yes, when it comes to PPIs, we find that they will reduce acidity too much because it's given to treat hyperacidity conditions, which is causing gastric or duodenal ulcers or erosions or other infections that go along with it. But when that is being administered, of course, the absorption levels go down. So we find that sometimes certain vitamins that is very essential for human beings to remain well and to treat themselves of certain disorders, say for example vitamin C.
Yes, that's a popular one, isn't it?
Yes, it is a popular one, but it is also, we call it in the medical field the C for controversy. It's
right.
also very, very controversial
And why
topic.
is that? Because if it's just nutrients and you're just putting it in your body, like all the other nutrients we've spoken about, why has that created so much of controversy?
Like we say, number one, we need to do what is necessary for the patient. I think as doctors, that is something that's a pledge. We do not want to do things that will give them no results or something that will cause them bad results. At least that is not the intention. So basically, we need to be able to diagnose disorders caused by nutrition or disorders that can be corrected by nutritional influx. So for that, the diagnostic has to be there, and that involves a lot of different methods of doing, from proper testing. It's a special method of doing a physical examination, going on to doing a 24-hour urine sampling and testing for all those micronutrition that we feel may be deficient for the person. And when we talk about vitamin C's, we also need to run blood tests to make sure the kidney function is okay, the liver function is okay. There is a condition which is G6PD deficient, which is very common in Southeast Asia. And this is very important for vitamin C, vitamin K metabolism. Okay. So in a person who does not have sufficient G6PD, then we actually find that they will have hemolysis, or the blood cells will start to break down when we give them high doses of vitamin C.
Right.
So diagnosis is important. So for safety as well as for knowing we are doing the right thing for the patient, that is the first one. So I don't think you would need some amount of special training to be able to diagnose nutritional deficiencies and be able to give the correct doses that can correct it.
Which is why it's important to have a doctor perform the injectable nutrition.
Yes, not only that, because there's many cases, I think many of you may know, there's many cases where people with no proper asepsis or the cleanliness or sterility of the procedure, if it is not maintained, because many of this injectable nutrition, they are not just subcutaneous, which is under the skin, or intramuscular, which is less risky, but they also, for huge doses, it has to be put into the vein. So when you put something into the vein and there is a lot of bacteria inside due to lack of proper cleanliness while performing, or the place where the procedure is done is not the cleanest place, then you find that people go into septicemia, infections of the whole blood.
Oh dear.
And that can be bad. And if you do not diagnose the person properly, if they have a kidney defect and you're putting in a slightly hypertonic, that means we are putting a solution in normal saline, and that is actually like salt water, and you're adding in all the vitamins and you're infusing it, and you may actually find that the person's kidney cannot excrete. Then they can start to have issues with the kidney immediately or even later on.
That can trigger off a whole load of other complications
Yes,
as well.
and certain vitamins will have certain very mild, not very common or very popular
So
side effects.
is it
but
like
there
a-
are side effects, so you need to be able to, not to say the person cannot have it, but you need to have educated doctors, educated nurses, and a clean facility where these treatments can be done properly. I think that is why doctors' practices are important to give these nutritional treatments,
Right.
especially the injectables.
Is it like a sort of a buffet where I could come and pick which nutrients I want, or do they come really pre-mixed in that sense? Is it like a cocktail of sorts? I mean, it just seems like, you know, I could get myself evaluated to see what I'm missing,
Yes.
and then have
Yeah.
those nutrients.
Yeah,
put
we
into
would do
me.
a lot, because intestinal dysbiosis, or the whole of the intestinal tract is not functioning properly. Then we would have to give them certain other special nutritional supplements. So we need to run all these tests, and of course we are very happy to listen to the patients, because now most of you're all very educated, you know, you have the internet, and you've done your own research, and you kind of said, maybe I'm feeling this because I'm deficient in this. You may know, but still we have our correct set of questionnaires. We have the interviews with the paramedic or the doctors or the nurses, and then we have the physical examination by the doctor, and then we have then we will discuss what we want to do for you. And of course we have some pre-made concoctions, but then the same thing does not fit everyone. So we may need to concoct something special for people with special problems or special needs, and then of course with your consent, then we will be able to do it in a safe way. So I don't think it's as simple. If you go to a doctor, if you go to somebody not qualified, maybe you can say, I want this much of vitamin C and I want this much of glutathione. All of them is happening all over the place. And they are being sold in packets all over. But
even powder form, to mix it here and there, and then people get more, you know, inquisitive, and then they start with the with these injections.
The problem with certain vitamins is, and if you're talking about vitamin C, the problem is if you take average dose of vitamin C, that is not enough to correct many problems. Like vitamin C's have irrefutable claim for treating, bringing up your immune function. So for being able to treat severe septic shock kind of conditions to the more low grade conditions like constant infections or severe influenza from which somebody cannot get better, cancer prevention and even cancer treatment. These are all, you know, claims. And of course it reduces melanin production, so it's also used for the popularly called skin lightening treatments. But if it is taken orally too much, the body has an adverse reaction in which it will absorb less orally. So that is why it became so important to, for these people with special needs, it's important to give it in the intravenous form. And generally the doses prescribed would be, going by the books, is between 15 to 30 grams, which you cannot take orally, you would not absorb. If you try to push up the doses you take orally, you would actually absorb less.
That's right.
Yeah, that's a paradox the body has. And so then you would have to get it done in the intravenous form and with the proper precautions.
Right. After how long can we begin to see results, or rather what is the time frame where we get to reap the benefits, so to say?
It depends on different concoctions. For example, the very famous cocktail, which is called the Meyer's cocktail, and it was discovered by Dr. Meyer. And that was a concoction a lot of people went into even during acute asthmas to treat it, and it would immediately clear the acute asthma.
Amazing. So
And
that's sort
it
of
can, Parkinson's people, you know, when they had severe shaking or they couldn't move, and after a dose of glutathione push, which we can do, you actually can do your daily activities and your mind is clearer and sharper. So these are all things that can immediately work. But if you are looking at disease prevention, if you're looking at degenerative diseases, like for example diabetes, or you're looking at Alzheimer's, or you're looking at other cancers and things like that, then you would need, as per your condition as per what your doctor is recommending, you would need to be a bit more patient and do that many treatments before you start to see the result. It's a relationship between how much problem you have and how much treatment you're getting.
Absolutely. So there is a full sort of a la carte menu there that you can choose from, of course, what is suitable for you, and if you're suffering from any illnesses or diseases, or if you'd like to use it to just enhance overall health and beauty. Dr. Alice is your doctor who you can go to get consultation, as well as to find out how you can keep yourself and your family well. On that note, thank you so much, Doctor. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. Injectable nutrients has been the topic we have covered today. Keep it locked on right here on BERNAMA News Channel. There's more updates coming your way.
Thank you for staying with us here on BERNAMA News Channel. This is BERNAMA Today. Fabian Nassis and Jessie Shahel with you on the show. It is the 3rd of July and it's a Tuesday.
That's right.
We have some top news for you coming up. But before that, let me tell you, later on in our show, we have a very special guest coming in. Andrew, who is a social media expert and also a conference producer this time around for this weekend's social media week here in Malaysia.
That's right. It's happening at MyTech and it's going to be really interesting, especially, of course, if you're very keen on finding out how social media can enhance whether your business or your products, your services, or even just your life in general. So everything social media happening at the conference called MSMW 2018.
Right. He also came in and he asked me earlier on, can we talk a little bit about how the social media actually won the elections? I said, yeah, why not?
Yep.
You can kind of give a teaser about that as well. So all that and more later after the break. But for now, let's share with you some stories. If you're a young little boy and suddenly you got a letter, or you got a letter from our Prime Minister and says, hey, thank you very much for donating to Tabung Harapan. You'll be excited, just as this young boy, as our Prime Minister actually gave him a thank you note.
That's right.
For donating 216 ringgit 40 cents.
That's right. Part of his savings for 8 months, and the Prime Minister expressed his words of gratitude. He says, thank you for your generosity, Ervin Dewadesan, for donating your savings to Tabung Harapan. We need more people like you.
Right.
And I love what the Prime Minister said after that. He said, I see great prospects for your future.
Right.
Of course, putting Ervin, in the driver's seat, as in to make him feel like
Feel
he
good,
can
yeah.
really determine
Do
how
something.
his future will be, especially for the country as well.
That's right.
So this, of course, is a very feel-good
Vibes.
note that we are
Yep.
on for today, and that interesting. But moving on to
Yep.
World Cup. Tell
Okay.
us.
World Cup, we saw Brazil won 2-0 against Mexico, and Belgium edged just a little bit. Japan 3-2 in the last final minute goals. We also got some stories for you, also letting you know that there are 3 more ministers that are coming into the cabinet, making a total of 29 ministers altogether, and the 3 more are going to be made senators first before they are made as full-time ministers.
And Prime Minister says, they may not be politicians, but they for surely are professionals.
Right.
So I guess this also kind of puts a sort of a new look at how we view those, taking these big roles and profiles or portfolios, that they not necessarily have to be a politician, but they have to be, professionals. Rather, they have to be qualified and experienced enough for the job.
Right. Child marriages endanger girls' lives, according to the Malaysian Medical Association. Jessie and I agree on if you're marrying at a very tender age, you shouldn't be, because there are a lot of things to go through still as a teenager. And when you reach the certain age of marriage, then you can think about that. But for now, if you're 11 years old or anything anything lesser than that, please focus on your school and get your studies done first, yeah?
That's right. Well, the law, of course, is trying to prevail here, in the sense that, marriage should not be for those below the ages of 16 for
Ladies,
girls and
18
18
for
for boys. However, I think that also should be bumped up a little bit more. But nonetheless, the Malaysian Medical Association has joined in the call to end child marriages in the country, expressing their concern over the mental and physical health of young girls who in fact end up pregnant. So of course, child marriage now is currently on the spotlight after a 41-year-old man took an 11-year-old girl as his third wife.
Right.
That creating headlines. Moving on
Yep.
to Jamal Yunus. He has been arrested in Indonesia. According to the Malaysian Home Minister, he's coming home.
Yes, he's coming home to face charges, yeah? Video of a shark in a Malaysian restaurant aquarium sparks outrage. The reason is because there was a black-tipped shark, which is an endangered shark in the world, that's been lying around in the aquarium, and a diver actually seeks for its release to the open waters. I really think animals should be released into the open waters. If you want keep exotic pets, then maybe you should own a part of the ocean. Yeah.
No, you can't even do that because they're meant to be in the wild.
Yep.
But they're not domesticated animals. They should not be kept in cages. Even domesticated animals should not be kept in cages. But that's a different
this is,
conversation.
yeah,
But for
altogether.
now, this shark needs to be released. It's got such a small, confined area. It's swimming in back and forth, and it's not just been there for a couple of days. It's been there for years. So, of course, everyone has expressed their outrage at the animal's cramped living conditions, and it will be released soon. Let's hope.
Yep. And also a new hope. Speaking about hope, the Sports Ministry, Youth and Sports Ministry, there is hope for them with one new minister and one deputy minister who is both young age. Syed Saddiq, 26 years old. Sim is 35 years old this year, sorry. And the ISN hopes that they will actually boost the national sports image and to transform the youth and sports
Ministry.
Yeah,
That's right. You see, what is important here is that I think to move forward, this particular ministry, the Youth and Sports Ministry, needs to undergo a paradigm shift, and that in the context of preparing more disciplined, competitive, and self-reliant national athletes. Yes, you want to say something?
Yeah, no, and finally we have Suhakam. Suhakam wants no delay in abolishment of death penalty. Now, if you do not know, some of the crimes here in Malaysia, if you commit it, you'll be charged to a death penalty. For example, possessing drugs or trafficking drugs in Malaysia, you'll be charged with a death penalty. So, Suhakam, as a human rights body, is trying to come in and say, hey, let's do away with death penalties and let's find a little bit more of another way to punish the traffickers. Yeah, so that's what it is. Proposed BERNAMA RTM collaboration to increase productivity. Well, basically they're saying that RTM produces great documentaries, infomercials and all those, while BERNAMA produces great news pieces. So both should be working together. We'll see how it goes because a study is already currently underway and we hope to see some results in the next 6 months or so. Now, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we've got a social media expert coming in to talk to us about the social media week here in Malaysia. Stay tuned.
That's right.
Thank you for staying with us here on BERNAMA today. You're watching BERNAMA News Channel. With me, a very special guest flown in from Singapore, Mr. Andrew Chow, who is the conference producer for the Malaysian Social Media Week 2018. And he'll be here right now to share with us a little bit about social media. Right, Andrew, thank you very much for coming here.
Yes.
Of course, you were very early today.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about social media winning the election first, because earlier on when we had the chat, you were saying that the social media actually kind of like paved way for the Malaysian elections, right? From your point of view as an outsider, what do you see?
I think the sentiment and the engagement goes hand in hand. I think elections are won on social media.
Right.
All right. And you kind of get the intrinsic results. You kind of get the sentiment. And it is no longer an issue of who creates better content.
Okay.
It's who has better engagement. And who is going to be the one sharing authentic news and fake news.
Right.
Right. So today we come to a point where social media is a very mature topic, and if you are going into social media, you are what we call the late adopter.
Okay.
All right. So it's always control versus trust. The more trust you have on a brand or someone, the more you want to engage with that someone.
Right.
So today, gone are the days where social media is an alternative to broadcast media.
Right.
And that's no longer the case.
In your point of view, right,
Yes.
there are a lot of things that are posted on official Facebook websites. Do you, in your point of view, think that these are official statements as well? Because we argue that official statements are supposed to be on the official ministry's websites or
Okay.
something like that.
Now, it's very interesting. You mentioned the word fan page.
Yes.
Facebook fan page was originally meant for fans celebrating a brand.
Okay.
That means it is actually fans who set up the page to celebrate a brand. But today, your official Facebook fan page is being used as an alternative to the website.
Correct.
I think that wasn't meant to be the case. But after a while, people thought that it's convenient, it's fast, it's timely, and it's online. Why not use it for statements, for immediate broadcast?
Right.
I think people kind of accepted the use. So, but still, people do not trust what is on social. They want to find out if it is authentic. Can't remind me of many years ago when Michael Jackson's news was actually being shared. Actually, the first incident was reported on Facebook, but people want to wait till the official news before they can confirm. So I think it is what it is today.
Right.
People use it this way.
Right. Now, let's go on to some Facebook live stories. A lot of course, things are broadcasted live on Facebook as well, especially us here.
Yes.
So, do you think that it's a good thing that terrestrial TV or commercial TV is being broadcasted on social media networks?
I think if you want engagement, if you want to get sentiments, it is always great. In fact, I think mainstream media has to thank social media, because if without social media, a lot of people wouldn't have read the news.
Right.
All right. So today, news is being shared socially, and I think the way it is being presented is different from the actual TV or the mainstream media.
Right.
So same piece of news, but it's presented differently. One is to get the engagement, and one is purely for commercialization.
Right.
Yeah. So I think it's wonderful that we have an option of use.
I see. So, okay, let's move on to the less serious topic. We talk about content creation here in Malaysia. Now, as you are from Singapore, and you have quite a good, kind of content creators out there as well.
Yeah.
But you said, surprisingly, Malaysians create more original content than any other parts of the Southeast Asia.
Yeah. So first of all, the brand of Malaysia is really authentic. It's really relaxed, and when you're relaxed, your creativity really flows. So I think a lot of topics that you have today is a reflection of the culture here. All right, you are very relaxed. Okay, so you are more creative. You have a lot more YouTubers here than Singapore. We in Singapore, we are rather serious people. We stick to the rules. All right, okay, and that's basically it. So we are very obedient, all right, people, and we don't do this. We don't do a lot of free stuff. We want commercialization. So I think that is the difference. So for every one content producer in Singapore, you probably find 8 to 10 in Malaysia itself.
Right. All right, Andrew, we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, oh, okay, there's no commercial. Let's go to the next story as well. Okay, then earlier on you said that content creators over here has more space or leeway, so you say, right?
Yes.
Is this because that you see there are some restrictions in our mainstream media, so to say, not giving a space to these content creators?
Okay, I think this problem exists in both sides of the straits. But the people, I find Malaysians are generally they're more colorful. And I think the lifestyle here is more relaxed, as I say. And because of that, that makes a difference. Restrictions can play a part, but I think it's also the resonance with the people. As long as you create content that connects people emotionally, you win. And that and trust, it's the currency of social media. So when you have trust, everything is easier. All right.
Like, tell me about the social media week here in Malaysia, because obviously this is not the first time. This is not the first time I've heard of it.
Yes.
And there are a lot of usually younger generation people actually go, right?
Yes.
But these days, there are more brand managers and there are more advertisers actually there. Maybe you can share with me a little bit.
Malaysia Social Media Week started as a initiative or a movement by the Malaysia Social Media Chambers. The objective is to educate people to use social media in a very ethical way, responsibility. All right, so it's a responsible use of social media. But as I said, social media is now very mature topic. People know what they are supposed to do and what not to do, because they have seen enough failures. They've seen enough bad examples. So today it's about doing something different, because social media, it's a crowded space today. It's very crowded. When you're crowded, you need disruption, you need creativity, and you need originality. And I think a lot of the speakers that we have in this conference for this year is really sharing with people how to do the same thing differently.
Who are the guest speakers?
Okay, so we have familiar names in Malaysia, like your newly appointed Youth Minister. All right, and he's going to share about the balance between work and play on social media. That's going to be very, very interesting. We also have topics like social media conversation and conversion. So we don't just be happy with just normal conversation. We wanted to have real ROI. So how do we have a balance between engagement and where's the money? Right. So we have also workshops on day 2 and day 3. Day 1 will be the conference. So we have workshops like how to blog for a living, all right? How to create your own personal brand on LinkedIn. And we also have topics like how do you create the great video marketing, all right, by a very famous travel blogger from the region. So we are not just having local speakers, we are also having speakers from Singapore, India, UK and Philippines.
Right. So it's quite a mixed kind of people coming in, right?
Yeah, so diversity, it's always good.
Now, Andrew, you see, we are actually, you said yourself that social media is a very noisy place today, right? You need a disruption. Now, depending on the advertisements or the depending on the avenues that we're actually using, we got Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and all those. Which do you think that will have the most impact on? Because Twitter is 160 characters, but it speaks the most, right? And then you have Facebook, which people rarely use, right? Then you have Instagram. Then there's things like Snapchats and all those kind of things. Which do you think that is actually?
So I think we're talking about platforms, and whenever we talk about platforms, we are just talking about the types of community that we have. The more crucial question to ask is actually 2. 1, what is your brand personality? Number 2, your target audience, where are they found? So even if a lot of people tell you Facebook is the largest platform in the world, you shouldn't be there if you are B2B. If you're B2B, you should try platforms like that connects professional like LinkedIn. So, and if you have a lot of B2C, for example, retail, maybe you do a lot of time limited offer kind of thing. Maybe Snapchat is better. So it's never about the platform, but it's about the buying habits of people. It's about the engagement habits of your target audience. And most importantly, your brand personality.
Okay. And the speaker that we have this year, they definitely have quite a bit of a following and all that, right? Maybe you can dive a little bit into some of the more, other than Syed Saddiq, who are the other guys that are around? Like you're talking about the travel blogger, right?
Yes. So we have a travel blogger from Philippines. He has been a speaker in many international travel fairs. All right, for bloggers. Can you imagine? So he has been to Europe, and he actually started the second TBEX Asia. That means we have travel bloggers exchange in Asia twice. Once it happened in Thailand, another one it happens in Philippines. So he is. And he's quit his corporate job, all right, travel around the world for 8 years, 10 years. So he has a lot of experience educating people on how to enjoy life while creating fantastic content for monetization. So that is one. We have a celebrity blogger from Singapore who's going to share all the secrets about how to blog. How to blog. No.
Okay. No, I'm just joking.
Yeah. So, so I think she's a great branding because you obviously remember her. So her name is Grace Tan. So Grace is going to be here to share about how to blog for a living. All right. We also have people who were ex-civil servant from Singapore doing a workshop on LinkedIn on personal branding. So we have ministers, we have radio personality, we have fitness guru, we have doodling experts. So it's all about offering colorful diversity to the central issue of social media. Today, everyone is a social media. You are social, I'm social. You are media, I'm media. So what makes us different? We have to think out of the box.
Right. Tell us about the event. When's the dates?
The event starts tomorrow. All right. So tomorrow we will have the conference. It's 3 days, 4th, 5th, 6th. 5th and 6th will be our workshop. We have 4 workshops every day. Each lasts about 90 minutes. 90 minutes. So on day 1 conference, we will have 5 to 6 sessions. Each session will have 2 or 3 or 4 speakers, and then followed by a panel. So people can ask questions. So it's not like a conference where you just absorb knowledge. It's a very interactive event. And yes, you're right just now. A lot of brand people, a lot of young people are actually more interested in it. Not that the older ones are not interested.
How do we participate, or how does a person participate in this?
He can visit socialmediaweek.com.my. All right, and they will have access to the sign up. They will access to the program and the speakers list, and also the history of the event itself.
Okay.
So we are also on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. So and remember to follow hashtag MSNW 2018.
Right. So it's happening at 9 in the morning to 6 o'clock. The conference, right?
Yes.
That's tomorrow at the Malaysian International Trade and Exhibition Centre, Kuala Lumpur. I've actually asked Andrew where is it. He says it's around Sri Hartamas area.
It's,
Montclair.
Yeah, it's next to Montera.
In Montclair.
Yes, yes.
So it's there. You can find out more. Maybe you can website again.
Okay.
Yeah.
The website for Malaysia Social
Yes,
Media.
yes.
So it's socialmediaweek.com.my.
Right. So socialmediaweek.com.my. That's where you can find out a little bit about the social media week here in Malaysia. Now, Andrew, your takeaway message before we go off for our our Malaysian people right here. I mean, this has been happening in our ground. You are actually coming here to talk to us,
Yes.
right? Maybe your takeaway message just before we go.
Social media, it's a open space, it's a crowded space. We all have a responsibility. Sometimes we blame a lot of rumors, but actually we contributed to it without verifying the source of the news itself, because we are so eager to share. So being the first is not always the best. Trust but verify. Take some time before you share any piece of news on social media.
Right.
And that is my key takeaway.
Right.
Take your time, don't rush. Okay, right? Yes.
Yeah, our MC didn't tell you to do this, right? Thank you very much for staying with us here on BERNAMA News Channel. Stay tuned. We got the news updates. Andrew, thank you very much for coming
Yes,
in.
thank you.
We hope to see you tomorrow at the event, and I wish you all the best in producing your first conference event here in Malaysia.
Yes, thank you.
That's right. Thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned. We got news updates right here on BERNAMA News Channel.